Everyone wants abs.
Everyone thinks he's on steroids because of this transformation.
But the truth is, whether you see them or not mainly comes down to one number, your body fat percentage. And here's for reference what you would look like at 50% body fat. And as you can see, you can definitely forget it, you're not seeing anything. At 40%, maybe your waist shrinks, but the abs are still buried. Around 30%, you're gonna have a flatter stomach, but still no definition. And it's at 20% that your abs finally start to show. And then when you drop to 10%, that's when you have the full six pack. And that's of course if you've trained them properly. And then when you get to 6%, that's absolutely shredded, stage lean, and honestly extremely hard to maintain. But here's the truth, you don't need to be that lean. The sweet spot is 10 to 20% for guys and 18 to 28% for women. That's when you get visible abs without feeling like shit. And I know because I've lived it. This was me 3 years ago, and this is my physique now. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how you can get abs fast. And to do this, I'm gonna go over the 4 main things you need to focus on, which is your training, nutrition, hunger control, and supplements. And first off, we're gonna start with training. So when it comes to training your abs, I want you to forget all of these fast-paced 5-minute ab workouts because you need to train your abs exactly like every other muscle, and that is with progressive overload, heavy weights, and controlled movements. And the way I do it is with these 2 exercises. And the first one I really like to do are cable crunches to target my upper abs. So here is how I do cable crunches. So first thing you want to do, you want to attach a rope to the cable, kneel down, and crunch hard. So as you're doing this exercise, make sure that you're actually flexing your abs instead of just moving your lower back. And the main way you're going to feel this exercise is by imagining as if you're trying to bring your chest to your hips instead of your chest to your knees. And yeah, for this exercise, I like to do 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps going to failure on every single set. And if you don't have access to cables, you can always do weighted crunches instead. Again, the same logic applies. You want to imagine as if you're trying to crunch your abs instead of just going up with your back. You need to make sure you're engaging your whole core and also make sure that you're going up in weight every single week or at least doing more and more reps. That's how you're going to be able to progressively overload and grow your abs. And now for my lower abs, my favorite exercise is going to be leg raises. Now preferably I like to do these on a dip station because your back is going to be set in place and you're not going to be moving all around compared to if you were doing them hanging from a bar. But again, just do it with the equipment that you have. But if you do have access to a dip station, I definitely recommend. And now for this exercise, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is imagine as if you're trying to do the opposite of cable crunches. So instead of bringing your hips just up, you want to bring your hips towards your chest to really engage your lower abs. And of course, if straight leg raises are too tough for you, you can always start by doing them with your knees bent and then work your way up towards that point. And once again, I like to do 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps for this exercise by going to failure on every single set. And then for this exercise, I make sure to progressively overload by doing more reps or even sometimes adding weight by grabbing either a dumbbell between my feet or adding ankle weights. And make sure that you're not swinging whilst you're doing these exercises to really feel your lower abs. And also you can pause at the top to really feel that contraction in your abs. Focus on these 2 exercises and trust me, that's all you're gonna need to be able to develop that 6-pack. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button because I have a bunch of these videos coming out every single week to help you guys reach your dream physique. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. And next up, we have nutrition. And trust me, this is probably the most important part when it comes to seeing your abs because you can't out-train a bad diet. Let's go over how to manage your diet and the exact numbers that will guarantee results. And the first thing is by setting your calories correctly. And what I mean by this is that you need to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose fat. So what I want you to do is to multiply your body weight in pounds by 10 and 12. So for example, if you're 200 pounds, that is going to give you 2,000 calories to 2,400 calories per day. So what you need to do is start at the higher number and only drop the calories if your scale doesn't move after 2 weeks. Because one of the biggest rookie mistakes I've done myself and also seen other people do is going too low too fast, and this absolutely kills your metabolism. And then when it comes to your macros, the most important one is definitely going to be your protein. And for protein, you need to be hitting at least 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, you need to be aiming between 160 grams to 200 grams of protein every single day. So we move on to the fats, and the number I recommend is to never drop below 50 grams per day. And the reason is because fat is going to regulate your hormones, so your testosterone, your mood, everything. So if you do go lower, you're gonna feel terrible, weak, and you will lose muscle. And lastly, we move on to the carbs. So when it comes to carbs, a lot of people like to stay away from them because they relate carbs to fat, and that is absolutely not true. So after you've set your protein and your fats, all you have to do is fill the rest with your carbs. Because carbs are going to give you more energy for your workout and also help you sleep better. I would stick to clean carbs like rice, potatoes, oats, and fruits. And if sometimes you need bread or pasta in your diet and it fits your macros, eat them. And now finally, we're gonna cover something that I wish I knew sooner, and that is how to structure your meals. So what I mean by this is a quick trick that I got from my friend Mike Israetel, and that is to stack up your carbs around your workout. So before your workout is going to help you with your performance, and after to refill your glycogen and also help you speed up your recovery. And then lastly, for calories, one thing that I can't stress enough is to not track daily, track weekly. And what I mean by this is that most people like to look at it in a sense of, oh, I need to hit 2,000 calories, and if I go over, I'll just eat as much calories as possible because, I already messed up for the day. But the way you want to see it is, instead of seeing it as a daily average, see it as a weekly average. So for example, if you have 2,000 calories to eat daily, that means you have 14,000 calories for the week. You do 2,000 times 7, or whatever calories you have to eat per day times 7, and that's how you should look at it. So if you eat one day, for example, you're supposed to have 2,000 calories and you end up having 2,500, then what you can do is take those 500 calories and divide them over the following days. This way you go a bit under the 2,000 calories, but you stay on track with your goal, which is losing fat and getting that six pack. Now, let me be honest, the day I started tracking my food was the day I started seeing the visual results that I wanted in my physique, especially in my abs. But here's the issue. Most people quit because it feels like a hassle. And that's why I use CaloEye. CaloEye makes calorie tracking as easy as taking a picture. You can literally just take a picture of your meal and it will calculate your calories and your macros for you. And from my experience, it's been very accurate for most foods, but I always make sure to check the ingredients after the scan to make sure the AI saw everything. Now we have probably my favorite feature of the app, and that is the barcode scanning. So instead of trying to search for every single ingredient, all you have to do is take a picture of the barcode and it will put all of the macros, the calories, everything into the app and track it for you. And if it doesn't have a barcode, the app database is massive and more accurate than other apps like MyFitnessPal. And the best part about this is that CaloEye is a lot cheaper to use than MyFitnessPal. So you're literally getting better accuracy, faster tracking, and spending less money. So yeah, if you've tried tracking before but gave up because it was too hard or expensive, then here's your solution. If you want to try it out for free, just click the link in the description and use code HusseinYT for a 3-day free trial. Trust me, your abs will thank you. Back to the video. The number one thing that most people struggle with when it comes to losing weight and seeing their abs is managing their hunger. Because let's be honest, dieting absolutely sucks. And the main reason why most people give up before they get to where they want to get to is not because they can't lose fat, it's because they can't handle the feeling of being hungry all the time. So if you're actually serious about getting lean and staying lean, then the number one thing you need to be focusing on isn't just counting your calories, it should be managing your hunger. And then when it comes to managing your hunger, the number one thing you need to know is that your hunger is determined by the volume of food you eat, not your calories. And that means that even if you're eating tiny portions of high calorie dense foods like peanut butter, nuts, oils, these are still gonna make you hit your daily calories in a matter of minutes, but you're still gonna be starving all day long. So here's what you need to do instead. You need to swap out the high calorie foods with low calorie, high volume options. So think about foods like chicken, broccoli, lettuce, foods that are gonna fill you up without costing you too much calories. And that's why half of my meals are usually veggies when I'm trying to cut down. And next up, we have protein. Now, protein is probably the biggest cheat code when it comes to cutting down, because first off, it's gonna keep you full, it's gonna boost up your metabolism, which means you're gonna burn more calories, and lastly, it's gonna help you maintain more muscle, which is really important when you're trying to cut down. Because your focus isn't just to lose weight, it's to lose body fat. And here's also a pro tip from my own experience with protein, and that is to eat your protein first in every single meal. And the reason is because it's gonna signal to your brain that you're filling up, which is gonna make it harder for you to overeat carbs or fats afterwards. And now one of the biggest game changers is going to be your water intake. And what I mean by this is that you should try and drink one big glass of water before every single meal. Because half the time when you feel like you're hungry, you're just dehydrated. So stop reaching for food when all you need is water and start drinking at least one big glass before every single meal. Now we'll move on to the part that most people are probably gonna skip to, and that is the supplements. So when it comes to supplements, first off, a lot of people like to overthink when it comes to supplements. They think it's gonna do all the work for them when they're not even training the proper way or sticking to a diet plan that actually works. So if you did skip to this part, please go back and watch the stuff that actually matters. But if you followed through and you watched the whole video, now supplements can help you with your results, of course, but I would say honestly 90% of them are probably gonna be useless to the regular person. But if I had to pick 3 supplements, these are the ones I would pick. And starting with number 1, which is probably one of my biggest secrets, I'll be honest, I didn't didn't want to really talk about it in this video. I was honestly going to gatekeep it, but that is creatine monohydrate, the most researched supplement in the world, and all you got to do is take 5 grams per day, and that's it. Don't overthink it. Sometimes even 10, you know, if you're weighing heavier or you have more muscle mass. I take 10 grams of creatine a day right now. Between 5 and 10 grams per day is going to be perfect. And also the timing doesn't really matter. I know a lot of people ask me, should I take it before my workout, after my workout? I don't really overthink that much. Just take it at the same time every day so that you don't get in the habit of missing a day. Creatine is going to help you with almost everything when it comes to muscle, your strength, your size, and also your endurance. So definitely take it if you're not, because you're leaving some gains on the table. And now we'll move on to probably my biggest lifesaver, because I've been sleeping like 2 hours a day recently, and that is caffeine, all right? When it comes to supplements, caffeine is probably my favorite one. When I say caffeine, I mean also pre-workout. And the reason is because it's keeping me alive at this point, honestly. Pre-workout is probably my favorite just because it gets me in the mood to train. Sometimes I don't feel like training. I take 1 scoop of pre and I'm ready to get to work. If you haven't grabbed it, you can go and grab Usain Mode from HGLT Subs. Definitely my favorite pre-workout. And of course, I might be a little bit biased. There's literally my face on the tub, which doesn't look like me at all. It looks like me on steroids. And I'm just kidding. When it comes to pre-workout, I definitely recommend it because it's going to give you that boost, which might increase your intensity in the gym, which is going to mean more muscle growth. And also it is going to help with suppressing your appetite, which means you're going to be less hungry, which means you're going to be able to manage your diet easier. And last but not least, we have whey protein. So whey protein is going to be honestly a cheat code if you're not able to get your protein in. I would use it just to help you get to that number that we talked about before a lot easier. A lot of people kind of forget to eat sometime during the day, so whey protein is definitely a quick fix. But yeah, that's pretty much it on how to get abs fast. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And also, if you're not sure where to start, what workouts to do, you're kind of lost, or even if you want free game, you can grab my free Natty Blueprint in the description. It's pretty much everything that I've learned from my workouts, my diet, my supplements, my consistency, my mindset. Everything is in there for absolutely free. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love y'all. Peace.